Earth's mightiest heroes are reassembling this year for Age of Ultron, an epic event that is surely to be the biggest blockbuster of the year. And if you like seeing Captain America and Iron Man team up for now, we have a bunch of suggestions of anime that would be right up your alley. And if you're just a fan of superheroes in general, these are some great titles that we want to recommend. And I've assembled my own super team for this task of recommendations today. Of course, I'm Tom Pinchuk, and this is Anna, and this is Dave, and right here is Mystery Guest X. Drumroll, can we get it? Whoa! Whoa! Sam Weller.
I'm back.
He's back. But you see, at Anime Vice, we believe that pop culture playgrounds are not as far afield as you'd think they are. So we think that there's actually a lot of fans of, say, Marvel movies or superhero movies, or just kind of big cinephiles in general who'd probably like a lot of anime shows, but they don't know where to start. Here are some recommendations that we think will be really good for Avengers fans. This is a suggestion from Marshal Victory. Tiger and Bunny, I know you're a big fan of this one.
I'm a huge fan of this show. This is kind of an obvious pick because this is an anime and then later manga adaptations that are spoofing on and doing their own take on like American superheroics. Totally. The creator of the series has even copped to a lot of American comic influences. You know, you follow Wild Tiger, who's sort of this down and out guy. I got a little bit of an Incredibles vibe almost from it. You know, where he's trying to recapture some of his former glory. He has certain ideals that he wants to live up to. And he meets up with this dashing young man, Barnaby Brooks Jr., who is the bunny to his tiger. And they end up getting paired together. I think the thing that I really like about this series is that with the variety of the characters that you get into, it really did feel organic, where it's like, instead of a monster of a week, it was like, let's get to know the backstory of each superhero, you know? And so I think that in the same way that they play a lot around with the origins and backgrounds of Hulk and Captain America and Black Widow and Hawkeye, where it's sort of like you have the main thrust of the action, like, you know, you got this Joker and Harlequin-esque duo that's kind of running rampant.
Jake Martinez.
Jake Martinez. He's a really cool antagonist, but they always take the time out to kind of check in with the side characters and find out what more makes them tick. Yeah. And so you get to see like nice individual progression with the characters. So I think for a fan who loves the Avengers, you know, interminglings and everything and how those pieces work together, I think it's a great ancillary to that.
You know, one of the other nice things for Tiger and Bunny is that you can also just watch Tiger and Bunny: The Beginning, which is a movie where they sort of compressed the first couple episodes, and it's a much easier way to sort of get into it than having to watch, you know, having to watch the series. But it's also awesome to watch the full series.
Or you might just skip ahead to Tiger and Bunny: The Rising, which is the sequel series, and we're not going to say too much about this right now. But if you watch at the end of the video, we can tell you, watching at home, how you can win this copy. I mean, the thing that I also like about Tiger and Bunny is that if you're recommending it to a superhero fan, there's a lot of kind of familiar hallmarks, because you're saying there's a villain who's kind of like the Joker. Yeah. I think kind of the overall premise reminds me a lot of that X-Men spinoff Ecstatics from about 10 years ago, where it's like superheroes as celebrities.
Yes.
You know, and like kind of the whole notion of that there's this meteor that gives all these people powers reminds me a lot of actually the Milestone. Remember the Dakotaverse?
You know, one of the things I really like in Tiger and Bunny is, you know, you have this tiger character that to me reminds me a lot of like Captain America, you know, because he's all about what a superhero should be. But at the same time, you have this bunny character that is a lot like Iron Man. You know, there's that clash between the two of them in the Avengers. We'll see that later in the Civil War. And Bunny, it reminds me a lot of Iron Man, not only really because first off, he's super like technologically astute, much like Iron Man, but also on top of that, one of the big things about him is everyone knows who he is. A lot of the characters in Tiger and Bunny have that secret identity thing going on like superheroes, and everyone knows he's Barnaby Jones.
He doesn't even have a code name, actually.
Exactly.
Bunny is the unofficial pet name he's been given.
Exactly. So it's just like, you know, I am Iron Man at the end of Iron Man. I mean, he's very much like that character.
So my pick is actually, it's maybe not as obvious of kind of like, you know, tights and capes superheroics, but it's something that a lot of people should be familiar with if you've ever heard of Akira Kurosawa's classic Seven Samurai. But it's, you know, it's a familiar story. We're talking about something that's been in Magnificent Seven or like A Bug's Life. You know, you're familiar with the kind of basic setup here. It's like the bandits are raiding it, the peasants finally have enough, and they collect this kind of motley crew of disgraced samurai, imitation samurai, robot samurai, to come back and help the peasants repel these bandits. And this is totally like an Avengers thing where you have this like unlikely group of heroes who, like a big part of the fun is watching them learn how to cooperate and learn how to get along with each other. And if you dug Avengers, like that general story of just like these disparate heroes coming together to fight a general menace, Samurai 7. That's my pick.
Nice.
So here's another suggestion from the audience from Waybig10101 and Combatron. Shonen Jump is probably the biggest manga magazine in the world, and I've always said for the longest time, Shonen might as well be Japanese for superhero because I really don't see anything but superficial differences between, say, One Piece or Naruto or Dragon Ball Z and the or Marvel superheroes. I mean, Bleach basically has an afterlife version of the Green Lantern Corps, and I mean, One Piece, that's basically a super team. Dragon Ball has a lot of intentional similarities to Superman.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult to recommend these because, you know, if you're saying 700 episodes, where do you start? But I would say it's about the same as like if you're trying to get into a comic series and it's like, gee, I don't know if I want to read the Daredevil comics, which volume do I pick up? I mean, they've been running for decades.
I think there's a ton of similarities between American comic book adventures and the Shonen Jump type adventures where, you know, Captain America might have defeated Hitler and gotten past World War II, but he's still in today. And with Superman and Captain America and the American archetypes, there's always that never-ending battle against evil. And I think that, you know, Japanese heroics, at least the way they've been portrayed so far, they always seem to have an end goal in mind, something narrative to happen, and then they just tack on some more arcs to keep it going. So I think maybe if they kind of go into less explicit terms for like the thing we need to do, then you can kind of have those enduring archetypes.
Okay, so the one I have is, it's not exactly Avengers, we're talking Guardians of the Galaxy, and you can really equate that to Cowboy Bebop. Again, you've got that ragtag bunch of misfits. Even in Cowboy Bebop, you know, you have a couple people that start together. You have Spike and Jet that start together, but the way that they pick up Faye or Edward and Ein, you know, and you don't have a raccoon, but you've got Ein the dog.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
You know, and the group itself, they're bounty hunters. They're going off like fighting people, and they do sort of have this great family dynamic, and it's the way that Guardians of the Galaxy built.
And most of them have like some kind of dark past, like in Guardians too. I mean, especially someone like Spike, who was an ex-hitman, or Faye, who was like a thief. And but they're also at the core, they're fun, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of fits neatly in that sort of space western. Like there's a lot, you know, you got like what Firefly, Farscape, even like Han Solo and Chewie. I mean, there's a lot that's easy to grasp onto there.
So also like a comic book or like Guardians, you know, there's a variety of tones to Cowboy Bebop because there's like straight up comedic episodes, you know, there's that whole spoof episode that's on like blaxploitation films. There's a ton of different tones in that series that's kind of similar to comics where you can have different types of adventures and different styles.
And self-contained issues or episodes or installments, whatever you want to call them.
All right, so my pick is, it's not as much superhero, but I like this one because it's got this group of crazy characters, and a lot of the personalities sort of remind me of the Avengers, and it's got rad action like the Avengers, and that's Fate Zero.
Interesting.
If you guys haven't seen Fate Zero, it is a prequel to Fate Stay Night. Essentially, every few years there's a Holy Grail war, and there are these basically, what are they called? Wizards or whatever you call them?
Mages.
Mages, yeah. There's these mages, these mystics who resurrect these heroes from the past in order to fight so they can get the Holy Grail and have a wish. But when you look at the characters, they, to me, are a lot like a lot of the individual people from the Avengers. Like, for instance, King Arthur certainly is a lot like Captain America.
Right, the man out of time.
Yeah,
Very
out of time, conflicted, and also, you know, believes in saving people first, no matter what. When, you know, at the same time, there's a character like Gilgamesh that I feel is a lot like Tony Stark, who's sort of like all about themselves and has all this power and, you know, rules in the way that he rules, but he kind of gets on everyone's nerves because of how he is.
Does he rock the facial hair though, like the lightning goatee?
He does not rock the goatee, no, but he is very like, he is very difficult to get along with. Like, you could really break down pretty much every character, even to the point where they have a Hulk, Berserker.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a good point you brought up too, because I mean, that's always like, you talk about like kind of the basic archetypes that kind of unite all the cultures, where it's like people kind of gravitate to certain kinds of heroes or certain kinds of team dynamics, and you can even go all the way back to mythology in a lot of these cases too. So it's like, it's always funny for me when I go to conventions and you see people who are like really into superheroes or really into comics, really into these superhero movies, but they don't understand that anime stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the exact opposite sometimes too, where it's like people are really into shonen, but they don't understand these other shows.
And I think it's a fear too. I think like people like actively fear anime, which is super weird to me because you're honestly, most animes are not any different from comic books.
Well, I think ultimately what we're talking about is like the stylistic differences. You know, people get maybe turned off by the presentation or by the art or for whatever reason, you know, the music, the sub, the dub. The way I always like to present anime is like, don't even think about it in terms of that. Think about it in terms of like another show that you'd want to give a shot to. And so, I mean, already I feel like when we watch some of these live action superhero adaptations, they are that close to anime and cartoons and anyway. You know, when you discover a new type of film or a new director, oftentimes you go, I don't know if I'll like it or not. Well, you gotta give it a shot before you can really count it out.
But I think we're out of time for today. I think we had a great discussion here. So again, if you're new to anime, I hope we've given you a lot of great suggestions about, you know, good, simple, easy places to start if you're a superhero fan and you want to find something similar in here. And also, we hope this will be good suggestions that if you want to try to convert the people around you to this stuff, because that's our mission here.
Join the cult of Anime Vice.
Guys, honestly, I feel like this was kind of a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
So thank you for having me on.
It's a good time to put the shroud back on, Mystery Guest X.
Okay. All right,
Back
bye.
into mystery.
Yeah, back
I
into
have to
mystery.
protect my secret identity.
So we did mention at the beginning of this video that we had some swag to give away. So we've got the Blu-ray DVD combo pack of the Tiger and Bunny movie, The Rising, which is a sequel to the series. So we would like to give this to a Vicer who really deserves it. So think of any anime character. Could be a shonen hero, could be a shonen villain, that you think would really fit on the Avengers lineup. And you described in the talkback. We're gonna have some more details about the contest in the description below. But go ahead and do that, and you could win this right here. Thank you for watching. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Mystery Guest X, for joining us today in this epic discussion. And if you liked what you watched here, be sure to like and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more awesome Anime Vice videos. Be sure to comment below. And if you want to learn more about the shows we mentioned in this discussion here, check out our wiki, go along to our board. We got links to all that in the description. And we need some kind of rallying cry here, like Avengers Assemble. I don't know what's a good one to end it on.
Anime Vice Titan.
Yeah!